Hey guys, welcome back to the wrap up for the 13th of December 2019. We're back on the downloaded version just because I noticed that the web version doesn't sum up the profit per share the way I like on this one. So we're going to be back to this, and I've kind of asked Trade Ideas to take a look at that. Again, if you are brand new here, welcome. Essentially what this particular series is I use Trade Ideas and its backtesting technology to come up with a list of stocks that have a higher probability of being lower or higher, depending on if I'm looking too long or short, next Friday as opposed to this Friday. So I'm able to run some complex backtests that they have. I come up with a list and I scan through that list. I talk about what I think about the market and then these individual stocks. I let the automated systems within Trade Ideas just trade it for me throughout the week. I close it at the end of the week and start again. So, kind of creating a little, long short portfolio, riding that portfolio for a week, closing it, and then do it again, just with statistics and technicals kind of combined. Been doing it for about a year now, so you can go back on the channel and just check out to see the performance of the strategy. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite that I run. If you're interested in the technology for this, link is in the description down below, along with the discount code, which will definitely help out the channel. It's an affiliate link, so there'll be some help there for that. So quickly taking a look at what we're doing, or what the SPY was doing last week. Just more of the same. So, technically this 3-week period here, if you look here on the weekly chart, 1, 2, and 3, we're up a little bit from there. So we took this kind of dip down to scare everyone, and that popped up, closing the week as a dragonfly doji, which is generally a bullish signal. And then after a few days kind of pushing sideways, we ended up pushing above that Thursday, and then a little spinning top here with some indecision on Friday. So that's interesting. And then there was some news for a China trade deal here as well. So the next candle, Monday's candle, is going to be very interesting, because these spinning tops, as anyone who's followed me for any length of time, I love, and I pay a lot of attention to, and they just signify confusion and indecision. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. Generally speaking, at the top end of this range, if we open lower next week or in Monday, that may be a shooting star pattern, which is a short-term reversal one. But again, right, you can't deny this this bull trend here that's been going on. So taking a look at what we actually traded from our list last week was absolutely fantastic. Very rare 100% win rate. Anyone watching for any length of time knows it's usually like 40 to 60%. So this was just, luck, and everything was firing on all cylinders. And that's just the probabilities of trading, right? If you've got a 60% win rate, every now and then you're going to hit all winners, and every now and then you're going to hit all losers. So that's why we always talk about risk management and its importance. So here we made about $10.50 per share. So you multiply that by 100, and it's about $1,000 per 100 shares traded. So, you can decide what trading style you are and how big you like to trade and invest in these. So taking a look at what we did, we got real. This happened later in the week, so really we got not much out of it. We were looking at this high short float at 30%, and this little breakout from this ascending triangle. To be honest, if it wasn't for it was in this particular strategy, which closes on Friday, this is a good looking pattern. A logical stop is kind of right under here. But that one actually still looks pretty good. TYOU, we were looking for kind of a breakdown after this gap fill failed, and that's pretty much what we got. SPG, this one gapped down and then actually came back up to hit our stop limit and then sold off pretty well. LDOS, this was kind of a chop. We ended up closing it for a profit, but really it wasn't that much. We were looking for a breakout of this area. That happened on Wednesday, and then we just kind of chopped around here. Along here on Monster, we were looking for a breakout of this indecision area here, and that worked out pretty well. CCK, we were looking for a breakdown in this area, came back down to the 50-day MA, could be chopping around and potentially moving lower. Again, if this was a more traditional swing trade, not this strategy that I've built, you would just be trailing this stop in some respect. And last but not least, PM, we were looking forward to break out of this congestion area, and that's what happened. Pulled back here almost to our entry today, but then ended up closing nicely. And for those who ask, it's usually, say, 10 to 15 minutes around the close is when I look to exit. So watching this week, Beyond Meat, basically just a really big, strong push down here. And if you look, it's this falling wedge that's kind of taken place here where the momentum of descent has slowed. And so as we're kind of coiling up and tightening up and volatility is contracting here at this low, which is just a little bit above the IPO price, I think there's a potential that this thing could squeeze and push a little bit higher. So I'm watching that one. Momo, just basically a strong push out. And if you see this kind of window, they call it here, between the gaps, we had this big strong push up, and then every time we've come in and filled that window, there's been an aggressive buyer. And if you look, we have a hammer and Dragonfly Doji and a hammer all at the 50-day. So it looks like there's some support coiling up here. So I'm going to see if this is a short-term kind of pop higher. TPX, kind of the same thing, right? A big gap that happened here. We came down and filled the gap, and then we have a hammer and a doji and a hammer. So again, a lot of that indecision, but I kind of look at these candlesticks as kind of saying, okay, well, there is some accumulation happening in this area. Doesn't mean it's going to happen forever. You don't have no way of ever knowing when it's going to stop. But if we continue, we break up higher here, there's a lot more shown support right below than there is demand above. Here on Spot is kind of putting in this ascending triangle here with all of these indecision candles up here. So I think if we break through that, we could certainly continue higher. Looking here on the weekly, you can see it a little bit more clearly, this ascending triangle like this, and then it closes a Dragonfly Doji, which again is the same as a hammer, so a little bit bullish looking there. IFF, just your stereotypical bear flag, big strong push up, massive wide candle reversal, and then just a sideways chop with doji spinning top, doji a fat spinning top, I guess. So some more indecision in this area. So I think if we continue down here, we'll have a little tiny stop run is more or less what I'm looking for on this one. TRV just kind of looks like the opposite here of Beyond Meat, where the momentum is kind of slowing on the way up here. The candles are getting smaller, everything's getting squeezed. Right here at the 50-day moving average, looking at this on the weekly, right? Big strong push down. This bounce looks like it could be teetering out, so it looks like it's something that could continue lower there. MCK, and it could just say another bear flag, push down, lots of chop sideways, and again, notice the candles with indecision all throughout here. So a break of this support area, we could test the 200-day, which is right here, or lower. Taking a look at Pan W, same type of thing again, right? So we have this kind of rising wedge here that looks like it's potentially starting to fail. At the same time, on the weekly chart, it's a wide range down candle and then an inside candle and inside candle. So just showing that we're really congesting here. To be honest, after this big run, especially at the end here, it looks like there's a lot of people trapped in here. So that, to me, just looks like it could be overhead supply. So that is what I'm looking at for this week, and that's what happened last week, which was a good one. I will talk to you guys next week. I'm going to try to get out, again, more of these live swing trading videos, but they're all still open. So there's really, other than closing them early, I can't, splice the whole trade together and then show you the result. So we're just waiting for that. And then as of come the new year, I have a couple more plans for a couple more series. So hopefully getting up to like a 3 to 4 week upload. So until I talk to you guys, trade safe.